Well, hello and welcome. Today I have Manny. He is one of my new friends that I met recently at the Joshua House in North Carolina. We're both in a program or programs that Gary Temple Bodley or Christy Levy channeled, and we met at a retreat. I did a couple of classes there on intuition, and Manny and I bonded along with 20 other people. But he's a wonderful person and has a very powerful message. So today I asked him to share some of his past experiences that may be powerful or useful for other people on the spiritual journey, because it is a long journey. It's lifelong, and it's powerful. So, hi.
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 So this
Hi.
this this is my soul mom. It's not my friend. I've called her my soul mom. Tammy's my soul mom.
Yeah. It, it, Manny, that's like the fourth person that's done that to me, by the way, because
Yeah,
I've
that's
been to
fine.
6 retreats. And
That's good.
Pam, that was one of the things she said at the last retreat. Oh, your love is like a mother's love.
It's
Oh,
it's pure.
your, yeah, your, and then I also got the grandmother love.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's four different individuals. And, I totally resonate with being a mother and a grandmother. So I'm good with that. So
Yeah. It's
it's,
it's all of the love that you shine out to everyone. We can just feel it. It's just beautiful.
well, I feel the same about you, Manny. And if I had to pick a son, I would pick you. I mean, I have one son, one biological son and two stepsons. But I worked in social work, so I was always adopting more. It just seems like my family is just extending out everywhere. So I appreciate um and love all of my soul family, my biological, my adopted kids and grandkids, because it's kind of, love is exponential. It grows.
Yeah.
So,
That's great. So it's good to be here. Um, how do you want to start? What do you want to know?
well, I want to know, um, well, briefly tell me a little bit about yourself. Like,
Okay.
um, I
Sure.
know
So I'll
this.
I'll yeah, I'll do the little resume, but not that it's relevant. But um, was born in London. Parents came from India. Struggled, provided for us. Um, I don't know how they afforded sending us to private schools, but they did. It was really hard. We grew up, emigrated to America in 91. My wife came over here in, call it, late 90s, 97 or so. Um, just kind of grew up here, and I remember coming over here from England with two suitcases and $1,000, and that was it. That was
Wow.
it.
Brave.
Um, Brave, and I think 2 days after I got here, I got a job at Circuit City, and I'm thinking this is so easy. And I'm getting ready to cross the road, and I'm looking one way, thinking there's no traffic here. This is awesome. Just as I'm getting ready to cross the road, I think the angel kind of tapped me on my shoulder and said, "Hey, buddy, look the other way," because the traffic was coming the other way. And so in England it goes one way, in America it's the other way. And
It
that
does.
that was
It does.
I think someone was tapping my shoulder saying, "Hey, it's not that easy." So we all struggle and work hard to get where we are, and I think it's all about the journey. I think it's all about enjoying the journey. Every life looks really easy on the other side when you look at it, but everyone struggles. We've all got it. It's just, do you want to do it in joy? Do you want to do it in love? Do you want to, do it in with negative emotions? It's your choice, right? It's just an
It is.
event as I look at it. And I've always enjoyed doing it in joy and love and surrounding myself with positive energy. Um, I told my wife I was going to do this podcast, and I said, I'm not really that spiritual. And she goes, "What are you talking about? You're the one that told me just be the best version of yourself." And
Um,
when you do this naturally, it seems normal. It seems like common sense to me. I don't see it any other way. When I see people, I can feel whether they're in pain or not, and I don't know why. I just see it, and it's just nice when you can just stop and try to help someone. Um, Again, it just feels normal. There's no magic to it. You just gotta stop. You gotta feel it. You gotta look them in the eyes. Just take that one little moment and say, how can I make this better for them? So, my parents have always been on a spiritual journey. They went to a guru, kind of a ashram up in India. We gave up. They gave up eating meat, kind of when I was 8 or 9 years old. I carried on with that, but ended up eating fish and egg, just going to college in England because it was really hard. But have gone back to the vegetarian kind of route, keeping life as simple as possible. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's been really good, really, peaceful journey so far. So
Okay, you're underestimating one thing that I really noticed is your kindness. Like that's like a superpower for you.
yeah.
Um, and I mean, you're very helpful and kind. You volunteer and you just radiate this acceptance and joy. Um, so you also do a lot of exercising. So tell me about your day. Like, what do
So
you?
so let yeah, my day, I think my day is a perfect day each day. It's so I'm 51. I I'm gonna say I retired at 44. My wife's gonna say you just changed your job. Um, I wanted to retire when I was 30, but she wouldn't let me. She goes, your dad's still working. You kind of need to work a little longer. But I got to a point in my life where so my background's finance, tax, money, all this abundance kind of stuff. And I got to a point where I said, um, there's only so much money that you really need. Um, and once you know what that number is and you've achieved it and you have a little bit of a kind of a buffer over that, everything's just excess. And if you can come up and understand what that number is and keep shrinking it, you can you can stop working and start to really enjoy life. So that's
Mhm.
what I've always focused on. And so in about 10 years ago, I've worked at this company for 25, 26 years. I left. They were surprised I was going to leave, but I just wanted to enjoy life, I guess. Um, I worked for them for a little bit, consulting. I still consult for the owner of the company, um, and I do that on my time. So my typical day, I'm up. Yesterday was a little bit unusual because I was up at 3:30, but I'm typically up around about 4 o'clock, 4:30. I meditate for an hour. Um, Go for either a hike in the morning for like 2 hours, hour up, hour down. Like this morning, I went to the beach. That was the picture from the beach from this morning.
Mhm.
Come back, meditate for another 15 minutes, have breakfast, and start my day. And then by 2 o'clock or so, when my wife gets back in, I'll we'll kind of spend time together. We'll cook together. We'll take the dog for a walk and just take it easy. It's so simple. It's so simple. So that's a typical day. Now I've added a little more to it in that my passion has always been cooking, and Gary helped me push past my fear. And a friend of mine owns a vegan restaurant called the Loving Hut, and I asked them if they needed any help, and they said, "Yeah, we need some help. Do you know anyone?" And I said, "Look, I can't. Can I kind of work in your kitchen for free, just for the experience?" Um, and they said, yes. So I pushed past my fear. And on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, I go and have fun, from 11 to 3 and enjoy and kind of fulfill that passion. And I've been doing that for like 7, 8 months now. And
Mhm.
it's so beautiful. It's just, I would pay so much money for that experience, and I should be paying them for the experience. But um, it's just I feel so grateful that I can do that. And you come back and start the routine back up again. So that's typically my day. And whether it's a Monday or a weekend, it's the same. The routine's the same. I don't realize what day it is sometimes, other than if my wife's going to work or not. Um,
You did you grow up meditating? Is it a specific type of meditation, or do you just quiet your mind and go inside?
so typically, I've done so much kind of biking and hiking and marathons and swimming. So when I do those events, it's almost like um, I'm out of not out of my body, but my thoughts are elsewhere, and I can process all of these as I now know these manifestation events. Um, so I've always done that to kind of deviate and try to calculate or navigate how to resolve these issues, whatever those issues are in the past. Now, especially after the camp, it's a quiet place. I was just thinking, I just meditated 10 minutes before this call, and I'm sitting and I'm kind of closed eyes and I'm looking and I'm thinking, and the only thought that came to me was, why isn't there any other thoughts coming in while I'm meditating? So my thought was, why isn't there any other thoughts coming in while I'm meditating? And lately, the only thoughts that have come in have been, I think, me talking to my inner self about what to post on the next Facebook post.
That's so
I,
lovely.
I I have no other thoughts.
Yeah,
It's just
I yeah, I've been noticing because I've always done guided meditations or breathwork meditations, but I will say if you are running marathons, biking, hiking like you do, you are breathing deeply. And I realized even more after the retreat how many people are not breathing deeply. So I think it's conscious breathing, moving your body and doing the things you love to do. So for me, that's yoga.
yeah,
But it's gentle exercises. It's listening to what your body needs, whether that's a vegetarian diet, um, or going for long hikes, enjoying life, but setting your intention to be joyful and happy all the time. You know, that feels like a place that's difficult for some people to get to. Um, and that's their past programming. So it's just kind of letting go of the programming. Once you can, we were on a call the other day, and after the call, after we were talking about the mind body spirit connection, that was the thing that I got was, oh, it's meditation is really just quieting your mind, uh,
right.
and allowing your true connection with source, or whatever term you want to use, allow spirit to flow through you. And that feels divine. And it will
Yeah,
bring more love, more happiness, more joy. And I asked the question because that's the thing is, how do you let go? How do you clear your mind and just let go? Well, it's because you're listening to what you needed. You needed to make a change in life. You did it. I retired 10 years ago, by the way, and I've been resistant to working. I work a little, but not a lot. But my days are very similar. I got up this morning and went to a core class. I went to the gym, but before that, I meditated, and so I meditated. I worked out. I had lunch, and then I'm jump on the call with this really kind, beautiful person. So um,
yeah.
and,
It's
and then
I don't think it's that difficult. I think we make it difficult.
mhm.
And I was talking to my mother-in-law after the retreat, and she's looking for me for guidance. So she's asking me, well, can you send me a cheat sheet as to what they said at the retreat? Because I'd like to learn. And I told her, I'm not sending you anything. And I just explained to her a couple of very simple concepts. It's not that difficult. Um, it reminds me of, I don't know if you ever played it, but in England we played this game where you put a blindfold on and you got to go find something, and they'll say hot and cold, and
Uh-huh.
depending on which direction you go, it's either hotter or colder. Your
Right.
body's the same way. You have this emotion. If it's positive, you're going the right way. If it's negative, you kind of off the rails a little, right? It's that simple. Your emotions are telling you, like,
Yes.
which direction to kind of go in, and so what I told my mother-in-law was, when you have a decision, one's going to feel a little bit better than the other. Just go with the one that feels a little better. You can't make a mistake. um and I said, and she's asking for, there's things that she needs to do, and I said, you know what you need to do. Just ask yourself, what do I need to do? And then push past your fear and just do it. And it's that last piece which is always the hardest.
It
Um,
is.
and
Um,
that was it.
that was one of the messages of the call yesterday. I saw you on there, and that was, first of all, we experienced angelic light language, healing, uh, channeling. These are all things that, a lot of people know about it, um, but one of the biggest things in the boot camp was pushing past your fear when you're inspired to go do something, and that can be small things or large things, um, like volunteering. You get so much joy out of connection, um, and also actually even going to an in-person retreat. Now, I've been going to in-person retreats for 10 years because I am a very social person, and I started with art, and then I moved on to spirituality. And I went to Sedona last year to a retreat, and I think we play these games to amuse ourselves in the adventure park of life, like whether that's a running group or a bicycle group, eating with friends, going to retreats, connecting on Zoom, but face to face interactions are very powerful.
They
So
are. And
they
you learn
are.
a lot. They are.
You really
And
do.
so I'll give you another example of such a simple moment. We were it was past my bedtime, but I pushed past my fear and still went to this event because I tend to sleep a little earlier. It was a dinner party, a lot of people socializing. One guy was sitting at the fire camp or whatever, fireplace by himself. I just went by and sat right next to him. And it's funny because I must have been drawn to him, and we talked a little. It was on the same vibration. We talked a lot about spirituality, and you know, different religions have different things, but they're all kind of, he would interpret it differently, and I would say that's the same thing. It's what I'm doing here is just different words, different languages, and we're just chit chatting. I think by the end of the evening, everyone was surrounding with the same vibration. The same people were around us, and I don't know where they came from, but they just attracted and came to us, and they
Yeah,
started
draw them in.
adding to the conversation. It was weird. It was beautiful.
I remember speaking about Sadhguru, and we that was the thing that kind of made us click, and you were like, yes. Anyway, I was looking at a couple of his messages yesterday, and he said life's plan is to take you to your fullest possibility. And I don't think you can do that if you don't push past fear and let go of the negative emotions. So whatever religion you choose, and most religions, I think, you know, forgiveness,
Love, joy.
love, kindness, generosity, those things are in all of them.
That's right.
Acceptance, and I found that message to be very strong. Um, there's something very well, and there's something very kind about Sadhguru, and he just emanates and then has all these people around him. And so we had I don't know, I know each culture experiences their own religions and beliefs in different ways, but there are common grounds in all of them. So having a conversation like that, it's
Yeah,
powerful. It
yeah.
is.
So I've always looked at religion, and I agree with you. I mean, all religions say this have a basic foundation, as you described. You know, love, acceptance, joy. Um, and the way I've always looked at religion is we're kind of at the bottom of the pyramid, and we're all trying to get to the top. And you can take all as many paths as you want. You know, Christianity will take one path. You know, Hinduism will take a different, and all of these religions will take different paths. We're all just trying to get to the top of this pyramid. You know, where you have self-actualization, or you know, you get to that consciousness, that higher level. It doesn't matter which path you take. We're all going to get there, um,
That's right.
and they're all equally as good. You just have to find whichever one resonates with you better.
That's right. And,
That's how I
you
look at
know,
it.
I, well, I took a magical path. I studied magic, energy work. I But I also went to a religious college the first 2 years and studied every religion. You know, we studied like 20 or 30 religions. And so, um, you know, it kind of gave me a basis to look at all. But one thing that I see is that some religions promote fear, and that goes against my belief system. It's like, or, you know, or maybe the right to dislike or wars, you know, and that's totally against Christianity, like killing another
I know.
human, or that's just against I'll say that's my belief system. So I feel
Yeah.
that there is a place in the world, but the truth, you need to go within your heart to understand the truth, um, and I don't think everyone understands it.
Yeah, and people will take some of the readings literally. And remember, these things were put together what 2, 3 thousand years ago,
Yes.
and we're trying to interpret something that was written that long ago as that's what it needs to be. Um, it was so long ago. I think, and I've always taken kind of the bits that make sense with all of these different religions and applied it. You know, I
Hmm.
mean, I'm fine with that, and whatever works for you know that individual, you just apply it and work with it. There's
Right.
no right or wrong. We just want to do everything in love and joy.
That's that's right. If you can, you know, peace was another one. I think a big tenet to most religions that I studied. And
Yeah.
you know, so I feel like they're powerful, they're significant, they can bring communities together. Um, you know,
But I
the
think out of love comes peace, right?
That's right.
If yeah. So if everyone loves each other, there is peace automatically. You're not gonna get anywhere
That's right.
if you yeah. So I think the foundation is love.
The foundation is love. And I often work with people, and the first thing that I see is they don't really love and accept themselves. And that's the beginning. And then you go, move on out. And like I see the world as we're all human, and we're all different, we all unique. But if we loved every human, there would be no wars.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right. That's exactly right.
So, if every human understood that concept, it'd be a different place. And I think the purpose of spirituality for me is to anchor in love. Um, and I briefly told you before, but I got a message for us this morning, and it was a Huey Lewis song. It was just playing in my head, "The Power of Love." Well, you know, so I looked at the lyrics of it, and it was really funny. And um because so we get on the power of love train and talk about that. And you have been sharing all these beautiful messages. And I did ask you to share a couple of stories that you felt would be helpful um to someone else.
So I think so. What I've always said to, and I don't remember some of these. It's weird because when you're in the zone, and sometimes when you're talking, you forget that you actually say some of the things. What I've told my wife and I've told the kids is, just be the best version of yourself. And our philosophy for our family and the kids have been twofold. One is to give them the best education we can, because that's what I got from my parents. And two is to give them the best foundation possible. And with that, they should be able to do anything. They should be able to distinguish between right and wrong, making the best decision or not. And they'll make mistakes. And I'm a big believer in making mistakes. And especially with money, because my background is finance, I've told my kids, they started a bank account when they were 7 or 8 years old, and we've given them money with the idea that if they lost their own money, it means more to them than losing their parents' money. And it goes back to experience. Whatever experience we're looking at, if you can make little mistakes and understand how you feel, hopefully later on in life, you won't make bigger mistakes where it will hurt, where the impact will be more. So I've used that on the financial side of it, and it's worked wonders. I mean, if they had to lose $100 or $500, that's like the world to them. The world's just collapsed for them versus losing $10,000 when they get to 25 or so. So I think it's just a little moments, little lessons, and if you can feel them early on, I think it just carries you. So that's that, and being the best person, as you can, best version of yourself as you can. We're all going to make mistakes. I've done them. I've always done them, but we learn from them. Um, I've had a tough time, really tough time, with families and gossips, and there's always something going on. But I think I just tend to ignore them, which is easier said than done.
It is.
You got to find your balance, and for me, I think it was working out, was getting out there, getting out of that society, and just trying to think through it and try to process it and come back stronger. The fact you have a family out there, and if you get good core friends, and I was thinking about how many friends I actually have. Um, Not a lot. Um, we have lots of friends, as you want to define them, but there's probably only a handful that you can call at any moment, and they will drop of what they're doing and be there right next to you. If you
Mhm.
think about it, if you truly think about who they are, there's not a lot. And
Yeah.
uh, this soul family that I've just found, it just feels like that handful of friends that I just had, you know, I just got a bucket load. And I don't know how to describe it. We've only known each other for, it was like 3 or 4 days at the retreat, but we were all connected.
Mhm.
Um, there was, I got to experience, that unconditional love. I don't know how to describe that. Um, how do you describe it to someone? You can't. You got to feel it, right?
Yeah, it is. And I have to give kudos to Gary because he taught me a lot about that. Um, I think we see the way people love each other. We watch programs. So we think love is one thing, but it's totally the opposite of what we're taught in life. And so you come to a place where you just know in your heart, like these people are genuine, they're kind. I was watching Daniel's video, and unconditional love is just it's just knowing that other people have no agenda. They're just there to be your friend or
They got your back.
they got your back. That's right. And
That's all it is.
I have been to 6 retreats, and I've been to other retreats, but they don't connect the same way. Like there's something about being in that house, being together, eating together, playing the games together, doing we do a lot of hugs. That was one of the first things that I experienced there is, we don't hug that much every day. So I might, I did a healing session on Chris, and I was like, well, I got this message the other day for one of my customers, and it was, you need to give 5 hugs a day. That was his treatment. but
but there's a
it's about
difference. Yeah,
being
I was going
mindful
to
and
say,
connected.
there's a difference with a hug and a hug, and
Yes.
it's almost like, you give someone a hug, but when your mom gives you a hug and squeezes you, and you can feel it for that split second, it's like a different hug. It's like you can feel the emotion. Um, and I felt that with everyone there, and it's hard to describe. It's just almost like a release. There's no agenda behind it. It's just, pure love out there. So I
Mhm.
agree.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I've made hundreds of friends through the groups through the years. And I mean, I've went to Glastonbury and to London with one recently in April. And everywhere I go, people text me. Now I'm on a tour, so I can't just meet up with them, but they all want to meet me because they know who I am. I mean, you you just feel like they're a magnet. They
Yeah.
We want to get together, we want to spend time together. Um and it's the kind of conversations that feel so wonderful. It's not just the
Right.
conversations, but you can just have them anywhere. So um I try to reach out and talk to people, and that was one of the reasons I did the podcast, is because I felt so connected with some of them, and they need to share their message. And I think once they share it, it seemed to like crack them open even more. Like I saw it numerous times. And I mean, I got a message, just interview 52 people, 52 people. And so I would just run around, and some say yes, some say no, some are not ready. But it you can learn that the spiritual journey is easy. And I think that's one of the messages. I think one of the messages you get is you go through all this, and yeah, there is some, you may be shedding tears. That's releasing resistance. You may be, opening up your heart to be a more loving person, but there's nothing scary about love. Like that
Yeah.
message that love is scary is just totally the
Yeah.
opposite of the way it is. In fact, I feel safe everywhere I go because I'm magnetizing loving people everywhere I go.
Yeah. No,
So
that's good. That's
yeah.
good. So my wife was asking me why I post all of these posting, and not that I'm looking for anything in return. It's nice when you get a little heart back, which is great, but it's more if I got to touch someone out there who maybe was having a rough day, or if they open up just a fraction, just a little bit, it was worth it, because now they can expand a little bit more, and maybe at some point, whenever they're ready, they can post something, and and then we get to share whatever they're going through.
That's right.
Um, the post that Kelly posted this morning, I don't know if you saw the text on that, the super family, no, soul family. So I'm going to copy that and post that tomorrow and credit her for it. But it's just a beautiful message. It's just a picture, and it was just so beautiful, but it needs to be shared. And
I
I think
see.
slowly over time, we're all gonna, open up a little bit. And I think I finally figured out that there's no rush. We've got eternal lives. This thing's eternal, and it's just drop by drop. Everyone's gonna
Yes.
take their time. Some will take longer, some will go faster, but there's no rush. We're
Yeah.
eternal. We're
I
gonna come
feel
again.
like when you try to rush through it, that makes it slow down. It's like
Yeah,
pushing away from what you really desire. I mean, you really desire to feel free and happy and joyful, and at peace. and calm, and to be able to, quiet your mind. And that it does seem, it sounds simple. It does take time to get there. I think it's the opposite of the way that I lived my first 50 years. Now, these last 10 years, I've just been relaxing and kayaking and doing yoga and going to retreats and spending time with my grandkids, just things,
Yeah.
I don't have a huge agenda every day, but these are things I enjoy doing. So I get up and do them. And um, just being at, not running around trying to be something I'm not either. Not, not pretending that I need a lot more. I really have too much. I need to let go of some things.
I'm the same way. And since the retreat, I was telling, it's been 3 weeks now since the retreat. I think it's 2 or 3 weeks. Um, I've only watched half an hour's worth of TV.
Yeah.
That's it.
I'm
And
having
even
I'm
that,
having trouble
yeah,
focusing on it because I do
yeah,
like TV, but I've
me too.
very little. And I
Yeah.
enjoy the peace and quiet. And, I have a cat. Oh, your dog. We got to talk about your dog now. Tell me
Where is
about your
she?
dog.
Okay, her name's Ploopy. She follows me everywhere. I don't know if you can see her. Is it coming in?
Well, hi,
There she is.
Floopy.
Can you? I don't know. I don't. I can't see if she's there. She is. So she follows me everywhere, and she's an inspiration, and that's unconditional love right there. It's just, I think she came into our life just to show us love. Um, she's beautiful, and there'll be more photos of hers. I've got all of these things for the postings. They're just gonna have to come out one at a time so we can. Sometimes we slow, as you said, we slow it down. Just enjoy the moment. It's all about the moment, and um, that is, I think it's just slow it down. And when you slow it down, you enjoy it. I used to have 10 things I wanted to do on one small trip. When you go into stores, I want to do 10 different things. Now it's all about just do the one, enjoy the moment. Yeah, you can wait for the other ones. You can do those tomorrow. Yeah.
Now, what you listened to Ashley Gonner's podcast, and that's how you found Gary Temple Bodley, right?
So I listened to Ask Julie. Is that Julie Ryan?
Oh,
And
okay.
she said something about Ashley Garner. So I went over there because Ashley is just more on the medical side. She kind of does those little healings. So Ashley, she mentioned something about Ashley. I went over to Ashley, listened to one or two of her podcasts, and this channeling episode came up. I'm like, what is this channeling thing? So I listened to that episode. I went over to Gary Temple Bodley, and all of that started to make sense. And that was when I was at a dark time with my soul brother Sean, who
Uh-huh.
I lent money to, and I was getting, if there's anything that keeps me up at night, anything, it was that. That was the only thing, and I wouldn't tell my wife about it or anything, but it would just eat at me, and I would just get all of these negative, nasty thoughts. And I'm thinking, this, it's not a big deal. You've lost money before. So
Mm-hmm.
what?
Mm-hmm.
Just process it. I'd process it, it'd go away and it'd come back even, with intensity. So I think Gary's program helped. I got to process it and it softened, really softened, but it didn't really go away. It's just, as I said, it's just like little cockroaches kind of running around everywhere. But after the retreat, um, I got to really process it in the sense that it's gone. So
Mm-hmm.
um, it's interesting how we have all of these different connections and to get to where you need to go, and whether it's Gary's kind of platform or another platform beyond that, these inspirations need to come to you because otherwise
That's
you
right.
can't start this journey, right? um, and if you have all of these negative thoughts that are blocking these inspirations to come through, you can't get you know you can't get to where you need to go. They're all there, we just have to open up. We
Yeah.
have to just
And
free up.
that is true because I think um, you know, Gary describes it as a manifestation event, but these significant things occur in our life to move us in another direction. And, you know, we all have negative emotions or feelings, and just simply allowing them to surface and explore, how is this for me? And what was the benefit of this exploration? Because you were you also, when this all occurred, you had loaned him some money, but you lost the friendship too, right?
Yeah,
So that loss, the friendship loss, is more significant, but the idea that money controls us in any way, that's a belief I had to work through because um of the way I was raised, by my
yeah,
mother. And she just, she was sort of controlling with money, and she I developed beliefs. We develop beliefs throughout our life, but none of them are true. They're all an illusion.
right.
Our beliefs are changeable throughout our life. Like you can believe. I mean, I remember someone saying that to me. We make our decisions based on money. Most of our decisions are based on money. And if you could choose another path, what would be an easier way? And so if you're working on a limitation, I can't I can't travel because my finances are too limited, then you just you just look at that. You can journal about it, write about it, meditate on it, and then shift it to a more positive belief. Like, I'm worthy of every experience that I'm really interested in. And, if I take one step toward the direction of my inspiration, usually the money's going to show up. And
It,
that's not
it's
the way.
it's
I can
it
remember my
truly
father
is.
telling me that when I was in my 20s, and he was, I was buying my first car, and I had some I had well, I had a child. I was single at the time and divorced, and I had a little son, and I was like, I'm not sure I can afford this. And he just looked at me and he said, you need to buy that car, and don't worry about it. The money will come. I mean, that was his motto. And but my mother was the opposite. Worry, 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 worry. Well, if I don't get this, if I don't do this, or if I lost my job. So we worry about the things, like uh, nothing that you worry about is helpful. So it's letting go of your worries. So when a worry comes up, I just kind of, oh, well, that's an interesting thought. I think I don't want to create that. And how would creating that be beneficial in my life? So I ask
Right.
those tough questions, and I
Yeah.
shift to a perspective of, if this is for the highest good, it's going to be the right decision. And, making decisions, I make them much easier now. And I watched, my aunt and mother and some older people, the older they got, the more decision making became complicated for them. They had too many choices. And I spend no time with decisions. It's like I just make them in ease.
I'm the same way. I'm the same way. And I will say to someone, if there is another message out there, is this money is energy, and you just got to let it flow. And if I think back, especially when I had the two homes and two mortgages, and it was just stressful, um, there'd be so much money going out the door, and then a week later there'd be a bonus, and you'd be back to exactly where you were. And it has happened to me so many times. Um, I think your dad's right. I mean, just do what you got to do. It's gonna happen. If you just try not to control it, it will just flow. Everything will flow. And I've just had something else where I had a big outlay just recently, and a friend texts me saying, "Oh, you're gonna get a distribution from one of your investments," out of nowhere.
Out of
It
nowhere.
all
Yeah.
balances out.
Well, I will say that was always a little bit of a struggle for me because, I had like both the polarity in the financial thing. But yes, I've, when I retired, I actually just kind of cut back, and I don't have as much income as I did. But when I need it, something usually just comes out of the blue, and I can't explain it.
It just
It's
does it.
unexplainable. And he was
Yeah.
right. If I had really followed his advice all my life, because he was a risk taker. And I think, we're kind of, some of us are more risk takers, and usually the risk takers, he liked he liked to play cards and gamble, and he made money in unusual ways, but he never
Mhm.
really worked hard for it. Now, my mother's goal was, oh, you got to work hard and work 20 hours a day and blah, blah, blah. But so I was sort of in the middle.
Yeah.
I kind of teeter back in the, and, but I think you can live with a lot less. Your number can be less, and you can enjoy life, and everything doesn't cost money. Now some things do, but
But that's
usually
your
whatever.
choice.
Yeah, and I choose to think that the energy of money is for fun, and I choose to take adventures. And I know you love to travel, so you're going. Where are you going next?
Okay, so this year has been great because we did India, London, Paris, Hawaii, the Arctic. That was like unbelievable. That's we got to about 400 miles away from the North Pole. I think that's it for this year. But next year, so I'm not a vacation kind of guy. I prefer my home. Yes, no, I prefer stay. My wife's the same way. She can't wait to come back home. But we're trying to push past our fears and explore something different. And it's just for the experience, nothing more for than that. And then next year, India again, because I said to Rena, hey, if you want to go see your mom, she's not getting any younger. So if you do want to see her, I think we have to make time because she's not going to come here. And so that we'll do like about a week or so there. And we're going to go to a retreat over there, a meditation retreat, which is nice.
Ah,
So I'll send you details about that. And talk about manifesting your desires. I wanted to go to Japan. I did not want to book it. I did not want to plan it. I didn't want to do any of it. I talked to my friends about it. Oh yeah, we'll send you the itinerary. We'll do everything for you. Nothing came up. And then about 10 days ago, I get this travel zoo, 17 days in Japan for $3,400 or something. That's where we're going. I just
that's
booked it.
nice.
I didn't even look at the itinerary. I just booked it. And it's all inclusive, including the airfare, the itinerary, the hotels, everything. So we'll do that. And if I'm lucky, we're gonna do Peru in December, Machu Picchu. I'd love to do
Mm,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So these seem like a lot of vacations, but I think you just plan it. If you think that's something you want to do,
Yeah. Well, I saw my parents age and talk about travel, but I tried to retire younger, and I've been to Europe, well, 8 countries the first time. Then I just did 6 countries in April. I did Iceland, England, Scotland, Wales, and Ireland. And well, it was 27 days, but I do tours. Like I do the all, I do the where they pick you up and take you back or whatever. I don't like to book all the rooms and all that, but I have done that too. So,
yeah,
but
me too.
travel is a great way to meet people, to explore new cultures, and to learn about, I mean, because you don't realize how different places are.
Yeah,
Iceland's nothing like the US, Georgia. And
yeah,
Georgia's my home, but
yeah.
the I have traveled, and I have met a lot of the people that I've met through the boot camp. I've met a lot of them in different places. Like I went to Boston, I met one of my friends there, and I try to see friends. And in the past, they've had not just retreats but get-togethers. So that's where like a group of people pick a location, and then everybody goes there. And
That's
so
nice.
so you know, like Kimmy Summit. That's how I met her, not at a retreat, but at a get together. And we've been to Orlando a couple of times and Florida. But if you spend a couple of days with people, you really get to know them. And there's
So I
something.
think, yeah, I think that's what we got to see at the retreat. The 3 days or so we were there,
uh,
you actually got to know the person, the real person. And sometimes you just get to see the identity, I guess, or the outside identity, but you never get to meet the real person. And it's hard because everyone's got their little shield up, right? They've got to be perfect. They can't say anything, otherwise we'll perceive them as being, someone that they're not. But
Well, vulnerability is something that definitely takes practice to share the experiences you've been through. And then you see, well, they've been through them too, you know.
we all have,
And
yeah.
yeah, we've all had challenges when it came to finances, relationships, or, taking care of elderly parents. These are just things that people go through, but you feel like you're on an island, but you're not. And then you see, well, no, I'm not on an island. They're everywhere. It just
Right.
kind of cracks open, and life just gets more interesting. That's why I
Yeah.
say.
So yeah, so I shared the room with or the house with Daniel at the retreat,
Mhm.
and he's a wonderful person. He's
Isn't
just
he?
amazing, a beautiful person. And he was sharing with me some of his events, manifestation events, some of the things that he regrets. So and I think I don't know why we were both put together, but there was a reason, and whatever the
Mhm.
reason was, it was perfect. So he's sharing all these things with him about his life, and when he stops, I said, um, "I've had those same events, but just multiply it by 5. So when you think there's a problem, just come look at me, and know that you're lucky. It was only 20% of what I went through." And he just looked at me,
Um,
and so everyone's experiencing, and it was the exact same experience, you know.
Yeah, I
Um,
think that's looking back and judging life, that it didn't turn out the way you wanted it. And no, but it probably turned out better than you thought too.
yeah.
You know,
So
like
yeah, so my mother-in-law's got this saying, and it's I think it's similar to what Joshua says is, if there's a desire out there and you get it, great. If there's a desire out there and you don't get it, even better, because you don't know, if that desire was for you, and it may take time, but you may look back at it and say, wow, I'm glad I didn't do that because of these events. So whatever the outcome is, it's perfect because it was for you at that moment, whether it was positive or something you wanted or not wanted. It was perfect for you.
yeah,
um
I can look back with gratitude from the events early on that I thought were wrong or difficult. They make you strong, and
they do.
they um they make you appreciate what you have, and be grateful. um One thing that I've learned, like, I don't borrow money anymore, or no, I don't lend money. Like, when my children ask me for money now, it's a gift, and they'll tell me they're going to pay it back. But I always have the intention, well, they need this more than me. And at this point, I haven't had to help my children a lot. They're both college. Both of my daughter and son both graduated from college and have good jobs. But, life has challenges. Things change. People change jobs. And I mean, things just, and they have children. And if you have children, they cost money. So they're very expensive.
I know. I
And
know.
so now, if someone asks me to borrow something and I have it, I just give it, give it. And that's one thing, that so that I don't sit back and say, oh, they owe me money, or, I don't want to ever have any challenges. That was one of the things, going through the boot camp or the whatever program I went through. I did have some difficulties with some of my family members, but I've smoothed them all out. Like we're all love now, and
That's nice.
um, we're all good.
Yeah.
And you know, even some of my most difficult family members, they just can't get enough for me, and they do nice things for me all the time. And I'm talking about like people, you'd shake your head. Yeah, I mean, you'd be like, "Oh, yeah,"
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Um,
I will say that, I mean, there's a lot of benefit to getting in um, a group. There's a lot of information you gather from interacting with other people and getting to know them, but not in a superficial way, like your acquaintances in the past. It's like really getting to know them. Like I know things about you that I would never know if I had not met you, and feel like I've always known you.
I know.
So, and you probably know
It's the
things
same.
about me. You probably don't. You probably think, I know. I think sometimes, well, you know, she talks to angels. She plays with crystals. She's a magician.
I don't think I love it. I think it's wonderful and I enjoy it. And actually
Yeah,
every time your face comes up on the Zoom calls, and same with you and Daryl it's just like there's my soul family. It's
yeah,
just
Daryl. Yeah, I
yeah.
totally fell in love
He's
with Daryl. He's so
he's my
kind, like super
he's my
kind.
he's my soul brother. And
Yeah,
he's got such a nice soul. Yeah, he's just, I mean, we talk, chat back and forth, and now he's sending out these emails and just opening
no,
up and sharing. It's beautiful. He's just he's clean, very nice soul there. It's just nice. I like it. Yeah,
I think it's so amazing how many people opened up. Now, I didn't know you before as well. I mean, I saw your face a few times,
yeah,
um, but you were kind of quiet. You didn't talk a lot. And I
mhm,
don't have a lot of questions because I go inside now, but I still
yeah,
like to listen. You know, like I love the idea of white light saying that, you know, relationships should be light and easy. You know, I think we take things too serious. And then I love the idea of the you know, somehow the Joshua messages sort of just permeate my life for a few days, you know, like the fishbowl one. We had a conversation about that, and then Daryl brought up the fishbowl, and then and then I just see those synchronicities coming into my life, and
yeah,
the daily spiritual practices and the messages are, you know, they're profound. So
yeah,
you know, I saw, I will have to say, during breath work, and this was 3 years ago, when I went to, it may have been a little longer, almost 4 years ago, when I went to Joshua House the first time, what I really saw was source and us as like energy beings all over the planet lighting up.
yeah,
So what I see are individuals who are coming into their power, coming into their knowing that love is powerful. That's what I
yeah.
see.
Wow,
And
that
I
would be
see
really
it,
nice.
well, it's happening.
Yeah,
It's not a rapid pace. It's
yeah,
a comfortable, easy pace. And some of us are on the train.
yeah. That's right. That's right. Yeah, you just gotta stay in the train.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. That's right. Actually, he said that. He was talking about the train with someone that somebody had asked a question. So just stay on the train. Yeah. Yeah. You can't move the train and just stay on it. Yeah.
Well, I'll be
So there's
interested to hear about all your adventures and travels, and I'm sure we'll meet again. And
yes,
but I thank you for sharing your stories and your messages, and I'll continue to read them and
sounds good. Thank you.
love you.
Love you too. Bye.
Did you have any other? See, I think I